In this video, I'll show you how to make your own awesome geometry projecting lantern with some basic electronics and a 3D printer. I'm Gareth, and you're watching It's Making Things. Here's what you'll need for the electronics. A Digispark microcontroller, which are awesome and tiny. A 3.7 volt step-up converter, which is adjustable. A 3.7 volt LiPo battery charger. A 400 mAh LiPo battery with overcharge protection built in. A small switch, around 26 centimeters of electrical cable, a 330 ohm resistor, some heat shrink tube or electrical tape, 2 small screws, and 2 addressable RGB LEDs. Here I'm using the widely available WS2821Bs that come in a roll, so just snip off 2 from the end like so. Then grab a few tools and we're good to go. First, let's print the parts. All the models are available for free on my principles page. Links are in the video description below. For the body, I like to use this matte black filament because it has a nice premium feel, and for the faces, these multicolor silk filaments look great. For the body, you should print it upside down at 100% infill with some organic supports. For the handle, which houses the electronics, use 100% infill and organic supports again, and go ahead and add a vertical seam on the side and inside of the handle to tidy it up a bit. Finally, print the cap which closes off the electronics housing and creates a surface for the LEDs. For the faces, I've included 3 geometric patterns on my principles page, as well as a blank template so you can make your own designs. These should be printed face down, ideally on a smooth print bed. I really like these PEF plates because they give this really cool sparkling effect. Let the bed cool before removing them to make sure they don't warp. Now we have all the parts printed, we're ready to attach the faces to the frame. For the bottom row, the top of the pentagon should align with the vertical line of the flower of life. For the top row, rotate them 180 degrees so they point downwards. Then lay them out in the correct orientation as it will make things much easier. Let's also use a dab of glue to make sure they don't pop off when you inevitably drop the thing. So prep your space and grab your gloves. Grab the frame and apply a little glue inside each corner of one of the pentagons. Then grab one of the faces from the correct row and pop it into place, ensuring you have the correct rotation. Now place it face down and apply even pressure to the frame to make sure it's fully in place. But don't push too hard or you might break the frame. Repeat the process and try not to get any glue on your fingers and clumsily smear it on the face. Once all the sides are on, add the final face on the bottom. Temporarily put the handle in place. Push it in and twist it to the right. Now align the top of the flower of life perpendicularly to the handle. This keeps the geometry lined up nicely. Now we have the body fully assembled, it's time to move on to the electronics. Let's start by adding some code to the Digispark so we can easily test everything during assembly. Download the Arduino sketch from my GitHub, link in the description, and open it up. The code is super simple, and if you want to try other lighting patterns, you can uncomment one of these blocks. Just make sure to only have one block uncommented at a time. And if you want to make your own pattern, you can play with each LED's speed, color, and direction properties. There are commented instructions at the top of the sketch to help you out. For now, let's just use the default pattern, so make sure you have the Digispark board selected. Hit upload, wait for the prompt, then connect the Digispark. Try not to wiggle the USB or break the connection during upload or it can corrupt the data and you'll need to boot flash the Digispark from another controller like an Arduino Uno. Now for the electronics. Start by cutting the wires to length, and once you have them all, strip the ends ready for tinning. You will need to strip one end of the 2 4cm and 2cm pieces a bit more so they can be twisted together like this. You need 2 wishbone looking pieces. Now strip a bit more from one end of the 3cm cable. This will be connected to one side of the resistor, so cut the resistor's wire down to about half and you can twist these 2 together like so. Once all that's done, tin the ends of all the wires and trim off any excess length as needed. Add some flux to make the tinning easier. Now tin the pads on each component. Depending on which converter you're using, you might need to adjust the voltage regulation. On this particular model, we just need to remove these two resistors as indicated on the back. Add some flux, heat them up with a soldering iron, then push them off with the tip of the iron or with some tweezers. You might need to clean it up a bit with some wick to make sure the connection is totally severed. When tinning the LEDs, make sure to tin the input side following the direction of the arrow. After tinning the LEDs, cut off the excess from the other end so it fits snugly in place later. Now solder the 6cm cable to the charging unit's positive out and the 4cm cable to the negative out. For the Digispark, you only need to solder the VIN and ground. No need to tin the 5V like I did, unable to follow my own instructions apparently. Now feed the resistor wire through pin 4 of the Digispark and solder it in place. Cut off the excess wire underneath and bend the resistor towards the Digispark's USB connector. Solder on the 3cm wire and use heat shrink or electrical tape to cover it. Next, solder a 2cm cable to the positive input of the converter pointing outwards like this. Then solder the negative cable from the charger to the negative input of the converter so it looks like this. This is a 3-way switch because it's what I had. So in this case, tin the back left and middle pins on the same side because I forgot to do it earlier. Then solder the small cable from the converter to the outside pin of the switch. Then the long cable of the charger to the middle pin. You can see it start to take shape and how it will fit into the handle like so. Now solder the joints of the two wishbone looking cables to the outputs of the converter. Solder the small negative cable from the converter to the ground of the Digispark. Now this is where it starts to get tricky. Solder the positive cable from the converter to the VI-in of the Digispark. Because of the configuration, they cross each other, making things particularly difficult, especially as by this point everything is covered in flux. Now for the LEDs. You'll want to solder the positive cable from the converter to the 5V input of the LEDs and the negative from the converter to the ground of the LEDs. Finally, the cable from the resistor goes to the DI of the LEDs. The last step here is to connect the battery to the corresponding inputs of the charging module, red to positive, black to negative. Now it's time to flip the switch. Wait about 8 seconds for the Digispark to power up and you should see both LEDs cycling colours. If one LED isn't turning on or you see a steady colour that doesn't change, there's likely a poor connection. Now the soldering is complete, you should have something that looks like this that will fit snugly inside the handle. Put the circuit in the hole starting with the charging unit. You will see a flat surface with raised sides it will fit perfectly into. Then gently start pushing the wires around so nothing is sticking out of the top other than the LEDs and their 3 cables. The Digispark kind of hangs in the middle. This is so it can be reprogrammed without ripping the thing apart. Once you're happy with the fit, start by placing the switch in place and screwing in each side. Don't overscrew it and thread the hole. There won't be much downward force on it anyway. This step is super difficult and annoying to do, so sorry. Now turn it on and make sure connections didn't break during this little skirmish. Now heat up the glue gun and drop some glue under the charger, making sure to push it in as far forward as it goes or you may not be able to get the USB in the other side. Now glue the battery and converter, making sure they're as close to the wall as you can get them, and clean off any glue around the rim, especially in the channels for the cap. Next, put the cap on by feeding the LEDs through the hole, removing the blue stuff off the back, and stick the LEDs down as straight and centered as you can. Now you want to push the cap down into the channels and twist it to the right about 15 degrees to lock it in place. If, like me, you made a mess with the glue and the cap doesn't fit, clean it up and try again. Be gentle moving the cables around to make room or you might break a connection. It can be a bit tricky to twist, so you can stick a small screwdriver in the hole for some leverage. Let's finish it off by gluing the LEDs in place because the sticky back isn't up to the task. Test it again and hope to whichever authority you acknowledge that it works, or you'll have to pull it apart and work out what happened. Now it's time for the exciting bit. Put the handle in place. There are a few ways it'll fit, so try to align it so that the top of the flower of life is perpendicular with the handle like we did before. push the top into the body and rotate it to the right. And there we have it, a beautiful geometry projecting lantern that's guaranteed to make you cool and popular. Whether you're using it as a decorative piece or as a fun toy to take to a festival, the patterns it projects are awesome. If you enjoyed this project, don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out the links in the description for all the files and resources you'll need. If you want to support the channel, consider using the affiliate links below to buy any components you need. And if you have any questions or want to share your own creations, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching and happy making.